On the edge of the frontier world HFY stood, a small house made of metal panels and old stone. It was not registered in any planetary database. It had no shield grid, no defense turrets, no automated systems, just a porch, a door, and an old human woman. Her name was Mara Ellison. She was 72 years old by Earth standards. Her back was bent, her hands were thin, her hair was white like frost. Every morning she awoke before sunrise. She boiled water on a simple stove. She cut food with slow, careful movements. Then she walked outside carrying 4 bowls. She placed them in a row beside the house, and she waited. At first only the wind answered her. Then the ground trembled. 4 shadows appeared. Beyond the ridge, they were massive, scaled, winged dragons. Alien dragons, native to Key PRA9. Each one stood taller than a dropship. Each one could tear steel with their jaws. Each one could burn cities if they wished. They lowered their heads, like obedient children. Mara smiled. "Good morning," she said. Her voice was soft. The dragons did not speak. They ate. They always ate gently around her. When they finished, they sat quietly. Mara would pat their snouts with her shaking hands. She whispered the same words every day: eat well, grow strong, be kind. Then she went back inside. This had been her life for 16 years. No one noticed, no one cared, until the dragons returned. 16 years earlier, HFY was newly opened to human settlement. Mining companies arrived first, then corporations, then soldiers. The dragons had lived there for millennia. They ruled the skies, the mountains, the storms. They were not evil, they were not kind. They simply existed. Then came orbital bombardments, mining lasers, atmospheric drills. One nest was destroyed by accident. 4 dragon hatchlings survived. They were burned. Starving, alone, their parents never returned. The hatchlings wandered for days. Predators hunted them. Storms froze them. Their fire was weak, their wings undeveloped. Then they smelled food, cooked food. They followed the scent. That was when they found Mara. She had come to HFY with her husband. He was an engineer, a quiet man. They wanted a quiet life. He died during a reactor failure at the mines. The company paid compensation, then left. Mara stayed. She had no children, no family, just memories and silence. When she saw the hatchlings, she froze. 4 small dragons stood before her. They hissed weakly. She saw fear in their eyes, not hunger alone. Fear. She went back inside. She returned with food, protein paste, cooked grain, synth meat. She placed it on the ground. She stepped back. The smallest hatchling crept forward. It sniffed, then ate. The others followed. Mara sat on the porch and cried. She cried for her husband, for the dead parents, for herself. The hatchlings stayed. She fed them again the next day, then again. Weeks passed. The dragons grew. So did the danger. Colonial patrols spotted them. There were reports. Large, hostile fauna, near settlement, recommend. Extermination. Mara stood between the soldiers and the dragons. She raised her arms. "Please," she said. "They are children." The soldiers laughed. One raised his rifle. The dragons snarled. Mara did not move. "If you shoot them," she said, "you shoot me first." The officer hesitated. He cursed. He ordered a retreat. No one wanted the paperwork. From that day, the dragons stayed hidden. They learned to fly at night. They hunted far away. They returned every morning. Mara fed them. She named them ash, ember, slate, cinder. She spoke to them as if they understood. She taught them kindness. Do not burn the small creatures. Do not hunt humans. Take only what you need. The dragons listened. They grew. Years passed. The colony expanded, then collapsed. Mining profits fell. Corporations withdrew. Pirates arrived, then warlords, then slavers. Kepra 9 became lawless. Mara stayed. The dragons watched. One day, raiders came. They surrounded her house. They laughed at the old woman. They demanded supplies. Mara said, "No." One raised a weapon. The sky darkened, for massive shapes descended. Fire rained down, not wild, precise weapons. Melted vehicles burned. The raiders fled screaming. The dragons landed around the house. They bowed their heads. Mara scolded them. "You scared the neighbors," she said. The dragons rumbled softly. Years passed. Mara aged. Her steps slowed. Her hands shook more. The dragons left for longer periods. They ranged farther. They grew wiser. They learned the galaxy was changing. Humans spread everywhere. So did cruelty. So did war. The dragons made a decision. They left. Mara stood on the porch. She watched them rise into the clouds. She smiled. "Be safe," she said. "Come back if you can." The sky swallowed them. Mara continued to place for bowls. Outside every morning, even when they stayed empty. She never stopped. 16 years later, the Galactic Union fleet entered Kepranine orbit. Their mission was simple: secure the planet, remove remaining hostile forces, establish order. They expected resistance. What they did not expect was silence. Every pirate base was destroyed. Every warlord fortress was burned clean. No civilian settlements were touched. The destruction was surgical. Union sensors detected massive heat signatures. Then shadows crossed the sun, for dragons descended from orbit. Each bore markings etched into their scales, symbols of ancient power. They landed near the old house. The fleet went on high alert, weapons locked, shields raised. Then something unexpected happened. The dragons did not attack. They walked to the porch. Mara was sitting in a chair. Her breathing was shallow. Her eyes were cloudy. She was waiting. Ash lowered his massive head. Ember curled around the house protectively. Slate knelt. Cinder spread his wings to block the wind. Mara smiled weakly. "You came back," she said. The dragons spoke. Their voices were deep, resonant. They spoke in perfect human language. "We have returned." "Mother," the Union fleet froze. Scans spiked. A dragon speaking human language was impossible. Mara reached out. She touched Ash's snout. "You learned to talk," she whispered. The dragons lowered themselves further. "We learned many things," they said. "We learned war. We learned loss. We learned gratitude." Mara laughed softly. "That is good," she said. "That is very good." Her hand slipped. Ash caught it gently. Tears burned in the dragon's eyes. "You fed us when the galaxy abandoned us. You protected us when you were weak. You taught us restraint. You taught us mercy. You taught us what it means to be human." The Union commander watched in silence. His officers lowered their weapons. "What is happening?" he whispered. "A miracle," someone replied. Mara's breathing slowed. She looked at each dragon. "You grew strong," she said. "I knew you would. I am proud of you." Her eyes closed. The dragons roared. The sound shook the planet. But it was not rage. It was grief. Ash lifted. Mara gently. They laid her on the porch. They stood guard for 3 days. No one approached. No one dared. Then the dragons rose into the sky. They carried Mara with them. They flew to the highest mountain. They carved a resting place of stone and crystal. They marked it with words in human script. Here rests Mara Ellison, mother of dragons. She fed the hungry. She stood without fear. She taught kindness to fire. When the dragons returned to orbit the Union, Commander transmitted a single message across the galaxy. Do not threaten Kepra. 9. This world is protected by dragons, by gratitude, by a debt that will never be repaid. From that day on, humans and dragons shared the skies. Stories spread about an old woman, 4 bowls, and kindness stronger than fire.